13 seasons. 13. Now, you changed your name on Twitter a while ago. OG, a.k.a. Captain 23. OG meaning you put in that time, that good work, veteran status.
Yeah.
How does it feel at 13 seasons in?
It feels good. It's a blessing. It's humbling at times. It's unbelievable at times. I had some coaches texting me last night because the game was on ESPN Classic game from 2002 when I was playing in college against Miami, and my son was like, "Man, I didn't know you played against Chantel." I'm like, "Yeah, I played against. We came out of high school together, went on visits together." So
I didn't know Dad was about that.
Time flies. I know.
I can only imagine. Now they start calling guys veterans at 4 or 5 years in. Average career is only like 3, 4. You're just casually strolling on 13 like it's nothing. How does that leadership role change when you're strolling on 13 years?
It's it definitely changes a lot. I think the dynamic of it changes a lot. I think I owe it to the guys on this team to maybe make them a little mad at times, to get the most out of them. The best production on the field. I'm not one of them guys that's going sugarcoat too many things. I know my window's closing in, and so for us to be great, everybody has to elevate their game. And what goes into me changing my Twitter handle is not about me anymore. It's about this team, and I gotta try to lead these guys.
All right, good. Now let's talk about football. Now the hub of your career was playing cornerback. Last year you fully committed to safety. Do you feel like you invoke more fear roaming the middle of the field?
I hope so. I would like to think so. I joked around probably at 10 years when I was going into my 10th year. One of our old DB coaches, and I said, Coach, I'm probably not a great corner anymore. I just don't mentally feel like I am. I don't physically feel like I am. But I said, I'm a great football player. I understand football. I've been around it long enough, been around defenses and offenses long enough to kind of play that chess game. And safety kind of helps me more in the football realm of things. It's not necessarily about how quick I am or how fast I am or how much how hard I hit. It's about understanding the game. It's the quarterback on defense. Absolutely.
You have to be smart to play that
position. I honestly don't think I could have did it 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year. It took some time to be out there and playing football to really understand how the safety position requires you to play. And so I'm loving it. I'm feeling rejuvenated, and I'm feeling back to my old self.
That's good. Now, corner, you're concentrated on man, you're concentrated on zone. Safety, you have a much broader, wider vision of the field. How was that transition last year, just going from corner to fully safety, and going into your 2nd year at full safety?
I mean, it was tough. It was tough last year to get thrown in the middle of the season. It was definitely tough. Like you said, I played corner for so long. I'm used to being in the meeting, understanding everything, my job, understanding my responsibilities. I've trained so long and watching film as a corner that, sometimes I revert back to just staring at that receiver and studying every little tendency he has. And, I have to always try to refocus myself that, man, stop doing that. You gotta focus on all 11, and try to figure out formations and tendencies and, where the weakness of that defense is, because at the end of the day, I'm the last line of defense between that end zone and the guy that's trying to get in there.
And it definitely seems like converting to safety helps kind of prolong your career, like you said.
Yeah, it does. And a lot of people ask me that, and I'm like, I'm not moving around moving positions to get to 15 or to get to 13 or 14. I'm moving positions because I feel like I can excel and help this team at the safety position. I think the coaches felt the same way when Jay mentioned it to me. It kind of happened on accident. I was coming back from the toe injury I had week 3, and I still couldn't quite play corner to where I could just drive off that foot. It still was a lot of pressure, and it still was hurting. And so one day in practice, I'm like, Coach, I'm tired of running sprints on the side. Can I get out of here with the scout team and play safety? I think I can do that movement, and so I did it a couple days and got a couple picks off the number 1 offense, and I impressed myself.
Then they looked at you a little differently.
And they was like, hey, and our safety was kind of struggling a little bit last year, and so they made a decision to move me to safety and try to put me in different packages, and then, before you knew it, I was out there full time.
Got it. Now, DeAngelo, I like to have a little bit of fun.
All right.
So I'm going to throw out a scenario to me. You tell me what it means to the opposing team, all right?
All right.
Now, you're 15 yards outside the line of scrimmage, all right?
Yeah.
Now, you're telling your team you got the deep threat covered. What does that mean to the opposing quarterback and the wideouts on the opposite team when they know that DeAngelo Hall got the deep threat?
I think it's that fear of not just knowing that if you throw it up, I got a chance to catch it. I think, the thing that I've always tried to separate myself from other guys in this league is what you do when you get the ball. Offenses weren't intimidated by Deion Sanders because he was going to intercept the ball. That happens. They were intimidated because they knew when he got the ball in his hands, 9 out of 10 times he was going to take it back, or it was going to be an exciting play that was going to change the momentum of the game. I think I've always been like that ever since high school, middle school. Every time I've got the ball, whether it was offense or defense, I've always had that mentality of scoring or trying to take the ball away. Even when I tackle guys, I don't just try to go in there and hit somebody as hard as I can. I'm always trying to get in there and feel the ball and try to rip it out. And so I've always been described as a ball guy.
All right, now let's switch it up because you have experience, obviously, at corner. Now, say you're on the line of scrimmage. You're lining up against a slot corner, against a tight end. What does it mean for them when they see you on the line of scrimmage? I mean, I feel like that's your comfort zone.
That's definitely my comfort zone.
You took snaps last year on that line.
Yeah, it's hard to really understand what they're thinking, but I remember playing against Jason Witten, who's going to be a Hall of Fame tight end. And, when we played Dallas in D.C., towards the end of the year, and, I was out there covering him, and, he ended up getting an offensive pass interference, and, I broke up a couple passes, and, I could just remember him talking to me, and I know him real well. His older brother played with me at Virginia Tech, so I remember him saying, like, God, man, go back out there on the corner, go cover one of them receivers, and he was like, man, I see why Dez gets frustrated. And so, I think those guys understand my skill set, and they kind of relish the opportunity when a safety comes down there to go against them. But, when they see me, a former corner who's been against great receivers, they're like, oh my, I got my hands full today. Either I got to come with something extra, or I got to try to push off or do some things that, depending on how the ref sees it, it could be beneficial to us.
All right, now Kendall Fuller, defensive back out of your alma mater, Virginia Tech. Did you get to chalk it up with him at all?
Oh, absolutely. I played with his older brother, man. He is I followed him ever since high school. I knew, he was one of the top players in the country. I followed him all at Tech, saw a couple games, and I mean, the kid is just, one of the smartest, down-to-earth, humble, hard-working kids, you'll ever be around. And we saw it from the first day that he came in here. Just his mental understanding of football is definitely way beyond his years. We got, unfortunately, another Virginia Tech guy, Kyshawn Jarrett, ended up getting placed on IR, shoulder, still kind of, doesn't have all the feeling, in his arm. And, it was so hard to see him go down. And, Kendall's cut from the same cloth. Kyshawn made a lot of plays for us last year. And, we were hoping that he could bounce back, and, he was going to be a big part of our team this year. But, Kendall kind of fills that role from the corner position, plays some nickel. Just a guy who understands football, and, is going to be in this league for a long time. All
right, let me give you a little bit of background on myself. I grew up as a ball player playing basketball. You know what we love to do? Trash talk all day long. Let me tell you, I'll have them, trash talk, get them frustrated, cross them up, and pull up. You know what I mean? Now, 13 years in, can you still do that? Does that go along with the role, or does that kind of fade out with the leadership and the veteranship that you have?
It fades out a little bit because I can't be the guy who's the hothead picking up silly penalties like I used to in my younger days. But I mean, we still mix it up. I remember being in Chicago, me and Jay got a long history together, so Jay Cutler, that is. We mixed it up, talked a little bit of trash back and forth. Obviously, anytime we play in Dallas and New York, Philly, is always some words exchanged. But, I've calmed down a lot. But, it's still certain situations in the game that, I'm an ex-ball player too, so that's my true passion.
So how much trash is talked on the court.
Absolutely.
You can only imagine on a football field. Stuff that we can hear. All right, so last year, NFC East champs, congrats. But, on the defensive side of the ball, you guys suffered a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
How are you guys, obviously, Gillette, again, out this season, really sad to hear. What's going to make this secondary feared this year on the field?
I don't know if it's one thing that's going to make us feared. Obviously adding Josh Norman is has been a huge pickup just, for the whole team, not just the defense. Just his attitude and mindset is going to spill over into a lot of the other guys. But, for us, it's just going out there trying to play every down, as hard as we can. Having Brashad Breeland, a young guy who's a heck of a corner too, be able to move to covering number 2 receivers instead of following number 1 guys around, it's going to make him better. Having Josh is going to make us better. Having me, move back to safety and some of these other guys we have. I mean, just collectively, I just think, this is definitely the most talented group I've been around. You hit on the injury bug. It's the NFL. It's hard to time out when the injury is going to happen or how it's going to happen. And so, for us, it's just about keeping every guy ready. This has probably been the deepest team I've been on. And so, we feel good if we do suffer some injuries, God forbid, that the next man has to step up. And, we were placed in that situation a lot last year. And so we kind of understand, and our coaching staff did a hell of a job, just getting the next guy ready. We had guys come off the couch at home and step in and make plays for us. And so, anytime you got a coaching staff who can get a guy prepared like that, we feel definitely good about anybody we can put out there on the football field.
All right, here's your schedule for 2016. When you look at this, what's the first thing that sticks out to you?
Obviously, the first one, Pittsburgh, ESPN. That's a Monday night game.
Primetime
TV.
What's the mindset going into that?
Always know where Antonio Brown is. Always know where he is. Me and Ben got drafted together. I know him real well. He's a heck of a quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. That's part of the problem when you win your division, is you play the division winners from each conference. And so, I mean, it's going to be tough. You talk about Pittsburgh, Dallas, New York, Cleveland, just the energy in that building when Cleveland comes in here, at Baltimore.
That's going to be insane.
Philly. I mean, it is not going to be easy at all, but, we don't expect it to. We don't expect it to be easy. Every game in the NFL is a dogfight. No matter what the records say, it's a dogfight. But, I mean, it's going to be lucky. I'm glad I'm not a corner, I tell you that.
Yeah,
because these first 3, boy.
Yeah, especially number 1 and number 2. Hey, number 3 too. You got Odell on there.
And Odell. So, but I'm gonna be back there playing safety, making sure nothing pops off.
Congratulations on the Virginia Tech Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm humble, man. I'm speechless. I always talk about my time at Virginia Tech, and I'm always a little sad about it because I left as a true junior. And, I always wish I would have stayed there last year, Can't get it back. It worked out for me. I went 8th overall in the draft, but, it's something about that college experience, man. It was something about Coach Beamer, that staff, Blacksburg. And, I don't feel like I accomplished a lot there, personally.
You don't feel like that. I feel like you did. You scored on offense, defense, special teams. Not a lot of players can do that.
Yeah. I mean, when you say it, it sounds good, but, I never quite won the big one. Coach Beamer told me when he recruited me, man, that our recruiting class had a chance to play for a national championship our senior year. And that year I left, I was a rookie. They played USC, first game of the season, lost by, I think, 3 or 4 to Reggie Bush and them at FedEx. And they ended up winning out and playing Auburn in the Sugar Bowl, who was the co-national champs because they went undefeated that year too. And so I just think about the success they had without myself and another guy, Kevin Jones, who left early too, was a running back who was a heck of a player as well, first rounder. And I just think, we were in the same recruiting class, and I'm like, man, Coach Beamer was right, and I wish I could have gave him that opportunity to, to play on that biggest stage again, So, that's probably one of my biggest regrets, and that's what I think about. I don't really see the good stuff. I always see the bad stuff, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I could, bring that to him. But I love it. I love it. It's a place that's going to always be home for me. I love those guys.
Do you think your name's going to be in Canton, Ohio one day? Future NFL Hall of Famer?
I hope so. I got a long way to go, but You know, I would like to. I think that's what everybody plays for at some point. You know, you kind of get to that point. You know, when I was young, it was about Pro Bowls and interceptions. And the older I've gotten, you know, I've kind of realized it's about the team and winning games and trying to get a championship. And, you know, there's guys in the Hall of Fame with my numbers, with 43 interceptions, but they have rings, plural, rings. And so, you know, for me, you know, I like interceptions, but I like jewelry a little more. So I would definitely love a ring before.
Hey, we all like that bling. DeAngelo, thank you so much for the time.